Hey there, it's Anna again with Salt in My Coffee. Thanks for coming back. So one thing that helps me to get so many pounds of vegetables every year out of my garden is the concept of catch cropping, which is when you plant one crop in the spring, but then once that crop is done, you quickly pull it out and get another crop in the ground to follow it. So essentially, you're getting two separate crops out of the same garden space within one gardening season. And so here it is, the last week of July, and I am about to pull out my seed binder and choose some seeds to put in the ground for a second crop in the garden. I usually, to be honest, this is something that I usually do the first week of July. I'm really late going about it this year. And I don't know, do you ever have a season of life where it just feels like you're a step or two behind on just about everything? That's the season of life that I'm in right now. And I'm having a lot of grace with myself, and it's really okay, but it doesn't change the fact that I've got 61 days left in my gardening season, and if I want to get some vegetables in the ground to grow through the rest of this gardening season, I really do need to do that today. And so the first thing I want to do as I take you with me on that process is open up my computer and show you how to find out how much time you have left in your gardening season to still grow a crop of vegetables. Okay, so let's take a look. I'll show you how I do this. All right, so I just want to show you quickly how to find out how many days are left in your gardening season. And what you're going to do is go to the Old Farmer's Almanac. And I just find that to be the most user-friendly first and last frost date calculator. There are several others out there, but it's the one I use. And you're just going to plug your zip code right in. Now, just as a fun test, let's try using Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon as examples. Let's see, in Portland, Oregon, let's grab 97035. 97035. And see what is the first fall frost date. Not until October 29th. That's a really nice late fall frost date, especially compared to where I am here in the foothills of Maine. My first fall frost date is actually September 25th, so I have quite a significantly shorter gardening season. Now let's compare that to what if you were in Portland, Maine. Let's grab 04107. 04107. And that, oh, Cape Elizabeth. Oh, Cape Elizabeth is lovely. And the nearest climate station is Portland International Jetport. And that first fall frost date is October 5th. So still a little bit longer gardening season than I have up here in the low mountains. Cape Elizabeth is over, of course, on the coast and a little bit more insulated. October 5th would be that first fall frost date. Now, once you've got your first fall frost date, this feels like cheating, but I think that the easiest way to find out how many days left that you have in the gardening season is simply open a new tab and type in how many days until, in this case, October 5th. Let's just do it. How many days until October 5th? If you were at Cape Elizabeth, you would have 71 days. What if we said September 25th, which is here where I live? 61 days. That might not seem like a lot, but there are actually a lot of crops that can grow fully to maturity in 60 days or less. So with this number in hand, 61 days left in our gardening season, let's go look through my seed binder and see what we can still plant. Hey, Nellie girl, want to sit and look at some seeds with me? Yeah. All right, you wish we were still throwing that frisbee. You live for that frisbee. But we've got a job to do. Let's do it. We're sitting on the floor here with my seed binder. Look at all these seeds. And my dirty feet, but mostly let's look at the seeds. Now, a lot of years I will actually order some seed packets specifically with the second crop in mind. I'll choose my varieties and order them right in February along with the rest of my seeds, planning to put those in the ground in July. This year, look at my seed binder. It is just absolutely chock full, and I felt like I have so many seeds. I ordered the seeds that I wanted to plant in the spring and decided that when the time came to put some seeds in the ground for a second crop for a fall harvest, I would just go through and start to use up some of the remaining seed packets that I have and work with what I've got. And so all I'm doing is I'm going through my seed packet, my seed binder, and I've already pulled out some that will work well. Kale is a wonderful choice, not specifically because it's such a short growing season, although it is a quick growing season, but kale and some other vegetables, which I'll put a link in the show notes, there are some vegetables that just get better and better after a frost. And kale is one of those. So kale is an absolutely fantastic fall crop because it just keeps growing and getting better and better even after that first frost date. Most types of Swiss chard, especially I tend to grow the bright lights chard, just get better and better after a frost. And so there are quite a few really hardy greens like that don't mind a frost, and those are a great fall crop. Spinach is great because spinach is one of those things that once the weather gets hot early in summer, it really bolts quickly. But the nice thing about growing spinach as a fall crop is that it germinates quickly, getting it in the ground now in July, but as it really starts to grow, the weather's getting cooler and cooler, and that way it's able to stand a little bit longer. You get a little bit of a longer harvesting season out of fall-grown spinach, at least in my experience, than planting it in the spring and having the weather get hot just as it's maturing. And with spinach, it's pretty notorious for going to seed pretty quickly once the weather grows hot. So another great fall crop. Most types of herbs, many types of herbs, really grow very quickly. I'm going to be pulling out the cilantro. Most seed packets do have the number of days to maturity on them. Not all brands publish the number of days to maturity. I know that, I'm just looking on here and not seeing it. I know that cilantro is getting big enough to really be enjoyable in tacos and things like that within 60 days. So I'm going to plant some. This says 60 to 90 days to harvest. And really, cilantro is ready and great for harvesting easily within 60 days, as long as you're not worrying about wanting it to go to seed and become, coriander. So let's flip through because we've got a lot of different flowers here and some things like that. Let's choose some carrots that we can grow in 60 days. Now, I had not grown these cosmic purple carrots before this year, and I absolutely love them. They have done wonderfully so far. They're my kids' favorite variety, based solely on the color. The color is amazing. One thing about Baker Creek, and oh Baker Creek, how I love you, they do tend to not put the days to maturity on their seed packets, and it makes me so sad every time. I know that this particular variety does get large enough quickly enough that I should be able to go ahead and plant my remaining seeds and have them mature within these 60 days. Again, Baker Creek, no days to maturity. Let's take a look at some other types. Now these ones, Romance, these are a little bit more of a storage carrot, and you can see the minimum days are 70. Not all carrots are created the same. You've got some that take 80 days to maturity, and others that take 60 days or less. Specifically, if you're looking for a short crop carrot, I really love Coral or Yaya. Y-A-Y-A is the name of that one, and I don't have any of those left, but those are some of my favorite short season carrots. Let's take a look at beets. Beets are one thing that I love growing. Some of these will take longer. A lot of the winter keeper type of root vegetables take longer to grow, but then take a look at this one, Ruby Cream. 60 days. That's a big difference, a 20-day difference. Now, I know that I've got some of these Lutz Winter Keepers already in the ground. They're going to stay where they are and pretty much take up their garden space over the full gardening season. But these Ruby Creams, 60 days to maturity, I can still fit those in for a fall crop, no problem. 50 days for Red Cloud. This is another great variety. Another of my absolute favorites that grows quickly is the variety Eagle, and I'm all out of those. Now, I'm not going to make you slog through my entire seed collection with me. I will probably spend about half an hour doing this, but I just wanted to take you for a quick dive into my seed binder with me to just take a look at, you've got some things like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are not a thing, at least not in the Northeast, that you're going to be able to fit 2 crops. 110 days, that's something that needs its garden space for the entire season. But there are lots of things like bush beans, 57 days. I'm going to plant these jade bush beans for sure. I'm going to get them in the ground today. Beans are a great fall crop. Beets, the shorter beets, these royal burgundy, which are so pretty and purple, 51 days. A lot of varieties of bush beans. Bush beans tend to take longer. Are you chewing on that? The sound you hear in the background is this panting puppy. Bush beans tend to mature more quickly than the pole beans, but even 65 days, I'm not going to put these in the ground because I would be pushing it, and I've already got 2 rows of rattlesnake in the ground. But one thing that you'll see in general is that a bush bean like Provider, my goodness, if you're only going to choose one variety of bush bean, Provider is really hard to beat. They are so prolific and just a great canning bean. Bush beans will tend to mature just a little bit faster than the pole beans. I love growing both. Anyway, I am not going to make you slog through my whole collection with me, but I did want to take you for a quick little tour to see how I go about this process. And again, I will very often order some packets of seeds that mature in a quick amount of time, specifically to get in the ground for a second crop. This year I'm working with the seeds that I have, and you can tell I have an abundant stash of seeds that really should get used up anyway. These Cascadia snap peas are great. Snap peas are another absolutely wonderful fall crop, so we'll grab those too. Well, thank you so much for joining me as we're doing this, and later on I'll take you out to the garden with me and we'll actually get some of these seeds in the ground. Thanks for joining me.